Test, 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 test.
Okay, let me bring tonight's City Council meeting for March 3rd, 2026 to order at 6:33. The public is encouraged to join the meeting online or by phone at the numbers printed on the agenda, which can be found on the city's website at www.diamondbarca.gov or in person. The main auditorium, South Coast Air Quality Management District. We have also allowed public comments to be submitted in advance to the city clerk, and if any were received, they will be noted for the record when we get to the public comment period. This meeting is being recorded, and by participating, you're giving your permission to be televised. This meeting will be rebroadcast every Saturday and Sunday at 9 a.m. and alternate Tuesdays at 8 p.m. and archived for viewing on the city's website as well. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and after that, if we would stay standing for Cantor Paul Buke from Temple of Beth Israel.
Mayor, it looks like the cantor is not on the call right now.
Unless you want to do it. Okay, you're okay, that's City Clerk Santana, please call the roll.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Chow?
I'm here.
Councilmember Liu?
Here.
Councilmember Tang?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Lowe?
Here.
Mayor Tai?
Here. And that brings us to approval of agenda. Mr. Fox.
There are no changes to the agenda.
Outstanding. And that brings us to a special presentation. We have the National Nutrition Month proclamation. If you'll join me downstairs, and you'll be joining us? No? Who is with us to receive that? Go ahead. Come on down. good was that? Okay. Hello, ladies. Hi. Thanks for being with us. Thanks very much for being with us. Appreciate it. I'll never get tired of that, huh? All right, we have a proclamation here for you for National Nutrition Month, and we have a few whereases, but I like to get to the end now. Therefore, be it resolved that the Diamond Bar City Council does hereby proclaim March 2026 as National Nutrition Month in Diamond Bar and encourages all citizens to join the campaign and become concerned about their nutrition and the nutrition of others in the hope of achieving optimum health for both today and tomorrow. So given that it's signed by the entire city council, today's date, so which one of you is going to take this and tell us about how you came up with this idea? Don't make me choose. I will.
Hello, I'm Risa Robinson. This is Kayla and Luisa. We're undergrad students at Cal Poly Pomona, just right down the street. We are nutrition and dietetics students, and so we were encouraged by a professor to get out there in the community and encourage everyone to celebrate National Nutrition Month. This is by the Academy for Nutrition and Dietetics of California. And yeah, they just want us to get involved with the community, spread the word about National Nutrition Month, and encourage everyone to eat healthy and live an active lifestyle.
That's awesome. So basically, the professor encouraged you to do that,
Yes.
but he or she is not here.
We
You give,
a lot of students
yeah,
from everywhere.
okay, but you take this to him and give him a bad time, okay?
Yes.
Very good. Did you want to say anything?
I'm okay.
You're good?
Thank you.
Good. All right, great. Let's take a picture. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I was thinking of having a donut, but those young ladies it made me decide to make other choices.
They shamed you.
So that is right. Thank you so much. Okay, that brings us to.
Mayor, before we go.
I was
just-
getting to that.
Okay.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, for the record, I just wanted to report out of closed session. We did have a closed session earlier this evening, and there's no reportable action.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And city manager reports and recommendations?
There are no additional reports this evening.
Terrific. That brings us to public comments. Public comments is the time reserved on each regular meeting agenda to provide an opportunity for members of the public to directly address the council on consent calendar items or other matters of interest not on the agenda that are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the council. Although the city council values your comments pursuant to the Brown Act, members of the city council or staff may briefly respond to public comments if necessary, but no extended discussion and no action on such matters may take place. There's a 5-minute maximum time limit when addressing the city council. At this time, I have a couple of cards that have been submitted, and then City Clerk Santana will ask for those callers joining the teleconference who may wish to speak under public comments. So I have 2 requests, It just says Selena, and the issue is restaurants and parks. Selena, oh, come forward, please. Right here.
Hi, good afternoon. I have a heavy accent, but I think you may understand me. I've been a resident from Diamond Bar for 40 years, and don't take me wrong, I like this city, I like my city. But one thing that I really concerned and I just very disappointed is there is no restaurants, Latino restaurants, Mexican restaurants. The only really restaurants that you can see is Chili's. I mean, if you can talk in like if I can bring my husband for a really nice date or a birthday or something, don't take me wrong. You know, I like Asian food. I like Japanese. I like Chinese. I like Vietnamese. Whatever. I love it, but not every day or not every weekend. Sometimes I wake up in the morning and on the weekend I say to my husband, where are we gonna go for breakfast? You know, we have to be Pomona, that I don't like the city much, or we have to go to LA. You know, I mean, I'm sure in Diamond Bar there is more percent of Latinos in this city. And I just would like, you know, we used to have Acapulco. I celebrate my mother's 60th birthday, I remember. Beautiful, you know what I mean? And now I say, where should I, you know, where we should go to eat? That's restaurants, that's about restaurants. You know, about parks is that I know that we have nice parks and that we have, you know, activities in the parks, but I have a granddaughter now that I always go to Chino Hills, because Chino Hills, they have this area that they have the water coming out. I don't know how you call that. And she loves it, you know, kids like that. You know, something, or maybe a park that you can have a little bit of a jogger or something that I can just go local in the park. We have just parks, trees and grass, but nothing, we have to go outside the parks to go and have some snacks or something like that. You know, so that is about parks. Now, now I know that you are a construction, you know, in Diamond Bar Boulevard, you know, and I'm sure it's gonna be beautiful, but there is only, I mean, you're removing, you know, where is CVS, and then there is a big trees, humongous trees. I mean, last year, I think, or the year before, you threw some of those trees. Okay, but now it looks like you're living against some trees in there. And to me, why you just don't remove the whole, so it's even, and you have make that's a beautiful landscaping instead of leaving those trees that can be dangerous. You know, those trees are humongous and huge. Something they fall, they can go to CVS or the other side. That is my opinion. You know, so another thing that I think I'm very happy, I don't know how the entrances of the ramps of Diamond Bar used to be ugly. You know, like the 60 freeway, you go into Chino Hills, now you're doing something there that I came here about 5 years ago with the same thing. And the ramps used to be even a lot of dirty, and the trees are falling down, and they were ugly, you know. I mean, I think it's the entrance of a city is very important how it look, you know, instead of looking ugly, that makes the city look expensive, looks beautiful, you know, like a nice landscaping, like palms or something like that. And I think you're doing something there that I think I will be happy to see the ending of the 60 freeway going to Chino Hills. So like I say, you know, I mean, I just we like the most is restaurants that I think it's a lot of my friends, a lot of they are saying, oh, you're right. I say, why you don't go and say something? Oh, no, they will not listen to you. I say, well, at least they can hear. I'm the voice of so many Latinos in Diamond Bar. You know, I mean, at least one, you know, when you build this Diamond Bar Boulevard and Grant, I mean, how beautiful. I'm telling you, I've been living here for 40 years. And I remember, you know, the golf used to be all these trees falling down. You cannot even see the city of Diamond Bar. Now that you remove all that, I say, when I park in there, when I'm going to Target, I say, oh my God, this is beautiful. This is Diamond Bar. You know, I would love you can put in another corner a beautiful like El Torito, something really good. Doesn't have to be El Torito, but a nice Mexican restaurant. In another, you know, where Chiles is here, and this will be another restaurant will be excellent. But this doesn't happen. I was hoping, you know, I know the golf in Diamond.
Would you turn it back on? Go ahead.
You know, the golf, I know a lot of people like golfing, and I understand that, more when you retire, I think. But that is a big place that I think that will be, I would love to be like Victoria Gardens, you know, an open mall or something like that. But I know there is a lot of people like golfing, but that place will be beautiful. Like I say, the water fountain we can walk our dogs and we can do something. I don't know. It's just, I'm not complaining about that, but it's just, I want a restaurant. And also the parks will be more for the grandchildren. And for Christmas, one more thing. Christmas, you know, the things that, you know, if you go to Pasadena or you go Irvine, you know, you have a little bit of decoration, you know, but I would like to go for every ramp. Not every ramp, but for where the big cities, I mean, where the big, you know, more decoration for Christmas, so the city looks expensive, you know, and maybe in the middle, that's what I think they call Diamond Bar, because Diamond Bar is one bar. But if you see, what do you see? Banks? And not really, if you pay attention, you know, you can run all Diamond Bar, but you don't see like that, something that you can say, oh, I'm gonna go here, or I'm gonna go there. It's always banks or grocery stores, you know what I mean?
Pizza places?
Yes, sir. You know, sir, I don't know if you live in Diamond Bar, but you would like to take, my husband's, there's always excuses, nothing in Diamond. No, you get up and you take me somewhere.
Yeah.
I
Here's
don't
what
care.
I would recommend. Here's what I look forward to.
Tell me.
I would make an investment in Selena's Mexican restaurant. All you got to do is find the place. Your husband will have a place to have Mexican food, and I bet you're a good cook.
You know,
So-
I'm not kidding you. I'm not Mexican. You know,
Wow.
but I say Mexican because most of, you know, who doesn't like Mexicans? Even Asian people like Mexican. You American like Mexican. But I'm from Colombia, you know, so Colombia, there is not too many people in Colombia, you know, so the food
All
is
right.
different.
Thank you.
So thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
very
listening.
much. You're
Thank you.
very energetic. Thank you very much. My next, yeah, please, a round of applause. That was excellent. Cynthia, you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, city staff, and members of the audience. My name is Cynthia Yu from Diamond Bar Library. The Diamond Bar Friends of the Library and Diamond Bar Library are now accepting entries for our annual How a Book Changed My Life student essay contest. If you are a book lover, you have likely read something, fiction or nonfiction, classic or contemporary, that has left its mark on you. Now is your chance to express your appreciation to the author with an essay in the form of a letter. The contest is open to students ages 13 to 18. 3 winners will be chosen and will each be awarded $300. Please pick up an entry form at the Diamond Bar Library or download it from our website. The submission deadline is April 11th, and the winners will be announced on April 25th at the Read Together Diamond Bar Meet the Author event. This Saturday, March 7th, join us in the afternoon for a fun and relaxing parent-child yoga session with a professional yoga instructor. Participants will learn stretches and poses designed for both caregivers and children in this unique family bonding experience. Join us as we celebrate Women's History Month by creating personalized junk journals on Monday, March 15th. A junk journal is unique to its owner and can be used to collect and record memories, thoughts, ideas, and inspiration, or as a diary. This program is for ages 13 to 17. Finally, Diamond Bar Library will be closed this Thursday, March 5th, for LA County Library Staff Development Day. We're always open online. You can access ebooks, audiobooks, magazines, music, and movies and more at lacountylibrary.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Cynthia. I have a card from, I'm not going to do well on the last name, but it looks like Michelle Benicasso. So close.
Good evening. I am a resident of Diamond Bar probably for the last 45 years. I live on Grubstake Drive, and recently I received a notification regarding the fire hazard severity zone. It was rezoned. So prior to receiving that notification, we were still rated at a high risk, but it has since, I guess, Cal Maps rezoned, reevaluated in 2025. It's jumped up to the very highest, which is the severely high risk. I've gotten together with the 20 other residents that are on Grubstake Drive, and I have 8 signatures addressing fuel mitigation. So if you'll allow me, let me just read this to you really quickly. Our neighborhood was recently rezoned as a very high fire hazard severity zone, which has resulted in mandatory defensible space inspections for private homeowners along Grubstake Drive. Those inspections are $151. I did attend the meeting in Rowland Heights last week to oppose the generalization, I guess, the inclusion of these inspections, but the meeting didn't go that way. It was basically just advising all the homeowners how long your grass needs to be, how many bushes you can have, and how many feet, and that it didn't really, nobody there really had the issue that we have, which is bumping us up to the very highest zone. Directly across from our homes is a large hillside green belt area, which appears to be city-controlled or publicly managed land. This land contains significant vegetation and slope that poses a direct ember and fire exposure risk to the adjacent residences. Homeowners such as myself are now being required to incur new compliance costs and face potential insurance hardship, yet no corresponding fuel modification or fire break appears to exist on the adjacent public hillside. We respectfully request that the city, 1, clarify ownership and maintenance responsibility for the hillside. 2, conduct or coordinate a fuel modification and vegetation management plan. 3, establish an ongoing fire break buffer where residential exposure exists. And 4, communicate mitigation efforts to residents and fire authorities. Equitable wildlife risk reduction requires that public lands be mitigated along private parcels, especially when public land contributes materially to the hazard classification imposed on surrounding homeowners. All of the residents on my street, Grubstake Drive, purchased their homes long before this reclassification and are now facing unanticipated financial and insurance consequences. City-led mitigation would materially reduce risk and support community safety. We would just request that of the city council if it could be looked into, because I did insurance. I worked for Farmers Insurance for over 10 years. And I saw this coming down the pike. What's going to happen is every resident in my neighborhood basically is probably going to get a non-renewal or a cancellation notice from their State Farm, Farmers, Allstate fire insurance. We already know that a lot of companies have already pulled out or stopped writing insurance in California. That leaves us with only the California Fair Plan. California Fair Plan only insures the structure. And it's kind of like having a great job and great insurance and then getting fired and having to use COBRA. It's the same principle. You have to buy wraparound policies for your contents, for your liability, for your loss of use, and the insurance, which I think the general average right now for my neighborhood, our house is 2,400 square feet, is probably $2,500 to $3,000 a year. California Fair Plan's probably going to bump that up to about 75. But there's no fire buffer behind the homes that are directly across the street from our house. And addressing the zone map people to request how they arrived at rezoning our neighborhood, because we all have tile roofs. We've all done our part. We keep our, our grass below 3 inches like the meeting had suggested. But if we could get the city to look at that hillside behind there and create a fire buffer, that would probably work in our best interest as well.
Mayor, just
Thank you.
Are you on the side of Grubstake that with the backyard is higher than your house? Which side of Grubstake are you on?
What do you mean?
Is your backyard higher than your house? Which side of Grubstake are you on?
Grubstake, okay. I'm on the west side, okay? But the east side of Grubstake, across the street, is where the big hillside, it backs up to right behind
Grand.
the
Okay.
City Hall, I
Okay,
guess,
okay,
over there.
okay. Got it.
Thank you, Mrs. Monacaso. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Are there any other folks that would like to address the council tonight? Okay, we will ask City Clerk Santana, are there any public comment emails or any callers on the line?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, there was one email from Mimi Chan. It was forwarded to the City Council and placed at the entrance to the meeting for public viewing. If any member of the public joining this meeting via teleconference would like to address the City Council, please select the raised hand icon in your GoToWebinar program now. And we do have one hand so far, Mr. Efrain Ubaye. Mr. Efrain, please speak.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. My name is Efrain Ubaye. I've been a resident of Diamond Bar for the past 20 years. I'm not sure this is the moment to actually speak of. I'm actually calling regarding the proposed development of the downtown Diamond Bar area. Is this a moment to speak about that and give my 2 cents?
We will open the public comment later in the meeting for that.
Okay, no problem. Then I'll hold. Thank you very much.
Thank you. There are no other hands raised, Mayor.
Okay, thank you, appreciate that. So anybody else, last chance, that would like to speak to the council? Okay, we will close public comments, and we will head on for schedule of future events and consent calendar. Mr. Fox.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. On the schedule of events for the next couple of weeks, Coffee with the Cop will be held on Saturday morning, March 7th from 8 to 10 a.m. at Margin Cafe in the Albertson Center. Our annual Household Hazardous Electronic Waste Collection event will be held Saturday morning as well, March 7th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Bridgegate in the Gateway Corporate Center. The Planning Commission will be meeting on Tuesday, March 10th, starting at 6:30 p.m. in the Windmill Community Room at City Hall. Another Coffee with the Cop will be held on Wednesday evening, March 11th, from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. at Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf in the Sprouts Center. Traffic and Transportation Commission will be meeting on Thursday, March 12th, starting at 6:30 p.m. in the Windmill Community Room at City Hall. And our next City Council meeting will be held Tuesday, March 17th here at the AQMB Auditorium at 6:30 p.m. On the consent calendar this evening, you have approval of the February 17th regular meeting minutes as revised, ratification of the check register dated February 11th through February 24th, and adoption of a proclamation declaring March as American Red Cross Month. And that concludes the consent calendar for this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Fox. Is there anybody that would like to pull anything from consent calendar? No, I would take a motion.
A motion.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilman Liu
A second.
and second from Councilman, I always want to say doctor, but it's Councilman Tang. Call the roll, please.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Chow?
Yes.
Councilmember Liu?
Yes.
Councilmember Tang?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Lo?
Yes.
Mayor Tai?
Yes. Thank you very much. We will move on to public hearings. That brings us to 9.1, Town Center Specific Plan. Mr. Fox.
Mayor and council, our Community Development Director, Greg Gubman, will be making the presentation.
Thank you, and good evening, Mayor Tai and members of the City Council. Tonight, you will be considering adopting the Town Center Specific Plan. Last month, on February 10th, the Planning Commission conducted its hearing and recommended your approval. Before I begin, I would like to briefly acknowledge the staff team, consultants, and community members who have contributed to this effort over the past 3.5 years. This specific plan reflects a substantial amount of technical analysis, public engagement, and policy direction that brings us to this important milestone. The purpose of tonight's meeting is for the City Council to consider certification of the final supplemental EIR, adopt findings of fact and a statement of overriding considerations, and consider adoption of the Town Center Specific Plan and related legislative amendments. No development is proposed tonight. You are strictly asked to adopt a framework of regulations to guide future redevelopment over time. The Town Center planning area covers 45 acres along Diamond Bar Boulevard between Golden Springs and the 60 freeway. Although today the area is developed with auto-oriented retail centers, the specific plan will guide the long-term reshaping of this area into Diamond Bar's future downtown, as is called for in the general plan. The vision for a town center was established through the general plan update process that led to the adoption of General Plan 2040 in December of 2019. Throughout that process, residents consistently expressed a desire for a walkable downtown in our city that offers dining, entertainment, housing, and community gathering spaces. And this is what led to the creation of the Town Center Mixed-Use Focus Area. The general plan establishes specific goals for the Town Center. These include fostering a vibrant, pedestrian-oriented environment and creating a comfortable public realm. The Town Center is also identified as a location where future growth should be concentrated rather than expanding the city's development footprint outward. Following the adoption of the general plan, the city engaged the Urban Land Institute in 2021 to convene a technical assistance panel, or TAP, to assess the feasibility of Diamond Bar's vision for the town center. The panel indeed validated that vision. The TAP further concluded, The TAP further concluded that in order to create a successful downtown, higher residential densities, coordinated mixed-use development, and a walkable urban framework are essential. The panel also emphasized that a specific plan should be prepared to ensure predictability and certainty for both the city and future developers. The specific plan before you tonight directly implements those policy recommendations. The general plan and TAP processes laid the groundwork for the town center specific plan to implement the vision of a downtown for Diamond Bar through a comprehensive regulatory framework. The specific plan regulates land uses, build-out density, architecture, and transitions using objective, predictable standards intended to guide redevelopment over time. Before getting into the substance of land use and standards, I want to briefly walk through the public outreach process that helped shape the town center specific plan. As the council knows, this was not a single workshop or a one-time checkpoint. It was a multi-stage, iterative engagement process that shaped both the vision and the regulatory framework. Tonight's hearing represents the culmination of that public engagement process. The process began with the first community workshop in July 2022. This workshop introduced the town center concept, outlined early goals and constraints, and invited broad public input on desired uses, building scale, walkability, and public spaces. Input from this workshop helped establish early priorities around mixed-use development and pedestrian orientation. The city then hosted a week-long design charrette the following month. This was an intensive, hands-on process involving community members, property owners, city staff, and the consultant team. Concepts developed during the charrette directly informed the specific plan's land use framework, public spaces, street concepts, and form-based standards. Then in January 2023, the Planning Commission and City Council held a joint study session to review the evolving town center framework. This meeting provided early policy level feedback on development intensity, implementation strategy, and overall direction before formal drafting of the document was completed. The consensus at the study session was for the plan to address the build-out elements listed on this slide. Very quickly, 2,055 residents, 446 square feet of commercial, provisions to encourage inclusionary housing, and consideration of establishing a road diet on Diamond Bar Boulevard. A follow-up meeting was held in March of 2023. At that meeting, staff and the consultant team presented refined concepts and provided an opportunity for additional public comment prior to the completion of the draft specific plan. The next few slides show renderings that were presented during that meeting to help reflect the community's aspirations for the town center's visual character. These artist concepts illustrate what redevelopment could look like if and when property owners elect to reinvest under the standards you are considering tonight. This first image is looking northward to the new Main Street that would be established in the heart of the town center. It would run parallel into the west of Diamond Bar Boulevard. And the vantage point here is from the top of the grand staircase that descends to the main street from the rear of the properties at Golden Springs Drive. Here's an overhead view of the town center's public green area. We've highlighted where the main street from the previous slide is located, as well as Diamond Bar Boulevard. So you can see where within the area this space is located. This public green area could be programmed for special events, food truck events, concerts, any variety of outdoor activities, programmed or passive. Here's a street level view of that public green, and here we're standing on Diamond Bar Boulevard looking toward the new Main Street. Here's a bird's eye aerial vision. We're on the east, so we're seeing that arrow pointing to Diamond Bar Boulevard, with Golden Springs Drive providing that that boundary at the left side of the page. So that gives you an overall impression of how the building density and arrangement of structures, streets, and blocks would be arranged. Here's a view as you're heading east on Golden Springs Drive. Again, that arrow is pointing in the direction of Diamond Bar Boulevard and just provides another vantage point to show how this potential build-out scenario could eventually take shape. Here's a very schematic view of the existing conditions on Diamond Bar Boulevard. Those somewhat blurry masses on the far left and right side of the image are basically surface parking areas and showing primarily vehicle travel lanes and very little for the pedestrian. So the next slide here is that same vantage point, but with the town center at maturity, with buildings coming up to the sidewalk, much wider sidewalks, street furniture, protected bike lanes, so this becomes more of an activated urban environment. And one more ground level view from that same spot showing the envisioned look and feel for that urban wide sidewalk walkable area that encourages the type of activity that attracts people to these downtown settings. So taken together, these outreach efforts shape the town center specific plan in several important ways. They reinforced the desire for a walkable downtown, informed the form-based standards, and underscored the need for a clear objective framework. With that context, we'll now turn to a chapter by chapter summary of the specific plan. So the town center specific plan will become the planning and regulatory document for the town center. The document consists of about 172 pages of text, tables, diagrams, and illustrations organized into 8 chapters. The document will be a separately bound set of regulations, but will be incorporated by reference into the development code. Chapters 1 and 2 provide a high-level overview of the plans, goals, and objectives, and what kind of visual character the town center should embody. Chapter 3 lays out the site into streets and blocks, establishes connectivity from end to end, and locates the major public spaces. Chapter 4 provides both the existing infrastructure conditions and the infrastructure needs to facilitate the incremental build out of the town center over time. Chapter 5 lists what land uses are going to be allowed in the town center and in which sub-areas they would be allowed. This encourages restaurants, outdoor dining, entertainment uses, drinking establishments, all of the uses and activities that, as we heard earlier this evening, the residents of Diamond Bar would very much prefer to have in our own city than to drive to our neighboring communities to enjoy those types of experiences. I will return to this chapter later in this presentation to explain how residential densities are regulated. First, though, I do briefly want to cover one set of land use regulations that was revised after the public review draft was released last summer. The specific plan, as drafted, now classifies legally established existing service stations as conforming uses. This allows them to continue operating and to reinvest in their sites over time. Ancillary uses, including automated car washes, may be permitted subject to a conditional use permit. This approach recognizes their ongoing economic role while maintaining regulatory oversight. In Chapter 6, the specific plan provides form-based development standards. These standards regulate architectural styles, building height, massing, and site design based on context and location. The emphasis is on how buildings relate to the streets, public spaces, and adjacent uses. A frequent concern with higher intensity development is its interface with existing neighborhoods. The specific plan addresses this directly through objective standards, including graduated height limits, step backs, and massing controls at residential edges. These provisions are applied at the project level and are intended to reduce scale and protect privacy. Chapter 7 identifies the tools to implement the specific plan. These tools will be deployed as the city engages with property owners. My apologies. As the city engages with property owners and developers early in the entitlement process. Finally, Chapter 8 provides a glossary of words and phrases to eliminate the need for interpretations. Before moving on to the environmental review process, I want to revisit two important topics from Chapters 3 and 5. First, I will explain our approach to facilitating residential density in the town center. As discussed, the town center anticipates a residential build-out of 2,055 units, or a density of 45.7 dwelling units per acre. The specific plan establishes a base density of 30 dwelling units per acre. The 2,055 unit build-out scenario reflects full utilization of what we're calling the inclusionary point system across the planning area. Density above the base level of 30 is not automatic and must be earned through either state density bonus law or the inclusionary point framework adopted by this council. This is a voluntary incentive-based program that provides locally tailored alternative to the state density bonus law. It is formula-based, transparent, and predictable. Applicants may choose to use either the inclusionary point system or state law, but they may not combine them together. Points may be earned through affordable housing, ground floor commercial activation, parcel consolidation, providing public open space amenities, and hotel uses in designated locations. Each inclusionary point increases allowable residential density by 10%, or 3 dwelling units per acre. The formula is simple. It's 30 plus 3 times the number of points earned. So for example, a project earning 5 points could achieve a density of 45 dwelling units per acre. Staff calibrated the inclusionary points scoring system to encourage development to get close to the desired build-out of 2,055 dwelling units and 446 square feet of commercial space by dividing the town center into blocks. So some blocks can earn additional points if they are in more desirable locations for public spaces or increased retail activity. Next, I want to discuss the distinctions between the approved complete streets plan for Diamond Bar Boulevard and the road diet concept that was studied for the town center. Complete streets is the overarching framework for future roadway and streetscape improvements proceeding independently of the specific plan. The project is fully funded for Diamond Bar Boulevard and is scheduled to begin construction this year. The project will add protected bike lanes, drainage swales, more walkable sidewalks, and new landscaping while maintaining the same number of driving lanes in each direction. The Complete Streets initiative along Diamond Bar Boulevard remains an independent capital planning effort focused on multimodal safety and accessibility. As part of that analysis, a road diet configuration was evaluated, which would reduce the number of travel lanes in each direction from 3 to 2. The traffic study found no modeled reduction in traffic flow with the road diet due to operational improvements such as dedicated turn lanes. However, public input reflected limited support for incorporating the road diet as a requirement for the specific plan. Accordingly, the specific plan proceeds without mandating a road diet, while preserving this as City Council's discretion over future roadway design decisions through the Complete Streets process. I will now walk you through the environmental review process that was necessary for a project of this scope. In accordance with the California Environmental Quality Act, or CEQA, the city prepared a supplemental environmental impact report for the town center specific plan. The supplemental EIR builds on the previously certified general plan EIR and the addendum prepared for the 2021 to 2029 housing element update. The supplemental environmental impact report focuses on those topics where additional project level analysis was warranted for the town center. The environmental review process included a notice of preparation, a public scoping meeting, circulation of a draft supplemental EIR for a 45-day review period, and the preparation of a final supplemental EIR that includes responses to all comments received, all in accordance with CEQA statutes and guidelines. Each step in the process is fully documented in the staff report in an attached resolution recommending certification of the supplemental EIR and related actions, as well as within the supplemental EIR itself. The final EIR does not identify any new significant impacts beyond those included, disclosed in the draft. The final EIR supplements the previously certified general plan EIR and the housing element addendum to the EIR. The document reflects the city's independent judgment as lead agency for this project. Most impacts were found to be less than significant or mitigated to less than significant levels. The final supplemental EIR identifies significant and unavoidable impacts in two areas: air quality, although lower than the levels generated in the general plan EIR, as well as traffic impacts from vehicle miles traveled. All feasible mitigation measures have been incorporated, but because impacts remain significant, approval of the specific plan requires adoption of what's called a statement of overriding considerations. Under CEQA guidelines section 15093, the City Council may approve a project with significant unavoidable impacts if it determines that specific economic, legal, social, or other benefits outweigh those impacts. The statement of overriding considerations before you identifies substantial benefits supported by evidence in the record, including implementation of the housing element and RENA obligations, long-term positive fiscal impacts, concentration of growth within an infill focus area, and realization of the general plan's vision for a town center. Adoption of the statement represents a legislative policy determination within the council's direction. That concludes my presentation for tonight and our recommendations to the City Council. Can you please put the slide back up? And our recommendations to the City Council are to adopt resolution number 2026-05, certifying the final supplemental environmental impact report, adopting findings of fact and a statement of overriding considerations, and adopting the mitigation monitoring and reporting program, to adopt resolution 2026-06, amending the general plan to reference the town center specific plan as a regulatory document implementing the town center focus area goals and policies. And third, introduce for first reading by title only, waive full reading of ordinance number 03-2026 and waive further reading and set for second reading and adoption at the March 17, 2026 City Council meeting. And the title reads as follows: an ordinance of the City of Diamond Bar adopting the town center specific plan, amending Title 22, aka the Development Code of the Diamond Bar City Code, to add new chapter 22.11 mixed use districts, and to establish the town center specific plan, or TCSP, zoning district, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Diamond Bar to rezone all properties within the town center mixed use general plan land use designation to the town center specific plan, or TCSP district. The project team and I are now happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gubman. Is there anybody who would like to address? We can, after we talk. You'd rather talk? All right, good. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak to the council on what we've just heard regarding downtown Diamond Bar? Nobody. Okay, that's interesting.
Mayor, we did not receive any emails for item 9.1. We do have a caller on the line. And if any other callers on the line would like to give a public comment on item 9.1, please click on the raised hand icon in the GoToWebinar program now. And the first speaker is Mr. Efrain Yubaye.
Yes, hi, Efraín Valle again. It's my first time actually joining a hearing from the city of Diamond Bar. Some of the stuff I'm not quite understand exactly what the gentleman was saying, but I guess my main concern of this downtown Diamond Bar would be traffic. I live in Palomino Drive, which is on Diamond Bar Boulevard and Palomino. And sometimes, or on a daily basis, going into my house into Diamond Bar Boulevard, it's a project trying to make those red lights, and people just traffic backed up for quite a substantial amount. Sometimes it takes 3 or 4 lights for me to make that left turn from Diamond Bar South into Palomino Drive. And traffic is bad because the 60 freeway from the 57 South to the 60 East does not have an on-ramp. So everyone exits off of Golden, what's the street name? Off of the 57 freeway, everyone exits that street to actually go down to the 6th Diamond Bar.
Sunset Crossing.
Take a left turn. Sunset Crossing, yes, sir, thank you. And it just creates a massive pileup of traffic. And I'm not sure if I'm sure you guys are taking into consideration the amount of traffic that builds up right now as is, adding more units to this complex. And if I saw it correctly, they're going to go from 3 lanes to 2 lanes from Diamond Bar Boulevard in the new plan. That's going to create even more chaos, more bottlenecks, in my opinion. So my opposition to that is, unless they find a cure for the traffic that we currently have, and it's gonna make everything better, I'm okay for this downtown center. But if everything remains the same and they're not gonna widen the streets or create some sort of on-ramp on the freeways, completely against adding any extra units for the downtown center. And that's just my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else on the line?
Mayor, there are no other hands raised.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. One last time for publics, please come down and let us know your name. And you understand you have 5 minutes.
Yes, sir. My name is Ramel Corpus. I had a question about the town center specific plan, where you spoke about the density, having a minimum of about 30 dwelling units per acre, or maybe 45 units, and ways to increase that density. What about decreasing it? That would be more in line with a townhome development.
Is that it? That's
Yes.
what you,
I
okay.
believe the specific plan called for about, 22 units?
Well, yeah, we're really not getting into the details of it. If you've been heard, we'll take it up with our team.
Okay,
Is there anything else?
that's it.
No?
That'll be it.
Yeah, you're good?
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks very much. Appreciate it. Anybody else? Okay, seeing no one, I will close the public comment and consider any actions. Is there anybody that wants to talk to?
Questions?
Yeah, any questions? Yes?
Questions?
Councilman Liu.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a general question. Based on the state laws and how developers can build the homes and mixed use. So we have the specific plan. What's the relationship between this specific plan as drawn, what we've seen, and what the real estate developers will actually develop? How do we make it that the homes that will actually be built as close as what is envisioned in the specific plan as illustrated?
Well, the zoning is going to require a minimum of 30 dwelling units per acre. So that requirement comes initially from the housing element that mandates that we establish zoning districts at a minimum of 30 units per acre. So townhome developers, lower density type home builders would not be able to develop their product in the town center. The area is specifically envisioned to be an urban, mixed-use, village-type environment with those higher densities that support the commercial activity and also provide opportunities for living and working within that same downtown setting. So the intent is to attract developers that build urban-type mixed-use housing developments that align with our aspirations for this area.
I understand that part, yes. So Mike, to be a little bit more specific, how do we, relationship between, we have a plan and we have developers, how do they can get the developer to develop the buildings as close as what's illustrated and what we have envisioned as possible?
Well, we're not going to be able to really twist anybody's arm. We're giving them a handbook here that gives them the certainty that assures them that if they come in and propose what we want, they will get their approvals very, very easily. To hit those targets we're shooting for is where we have come up with innovations like the inclusionary point system, where if they want to build 45 units per acre, we encourage that, but in return, we need them to also balance that with more retail square footage. And if they would consolidate parcels by buying up the smaller lots, just by creating larger development sites, they will earn inclusionary points to increase density. So we're trying to create those incentives that would be appealing to the developers to not only create a return on investment for them, but also that what they choose to do is in sync with what the whole community envisions.
Yeah, in addition to that, so this is a zoning document, and we are now establishing a minimum of 30 dwelling units per acre. So current property owners can continue to use their properties the way they're currently using them, but if they propose new development, they're going to have to comply with these minimum requirements that are being adopted by this plan. Now, the 30 dwelling per unit per acre is the minimum. They can increase that with the incentives that we have identified today, but any new development that proposes housing is going to have to comply with the 30 dwelling units per acre.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilman Tang.
Thank you, Mayor. Earlier, there's a call mentioned traffic concerns because there are going to be so many new resident and business built in this project. I think that's a very legitimate concern, and I believe there's a traffic study done for this issue. So I think today is a good opportunity for city to give the residents some report about the traffic issues. That's the first thing. The second thing is if we approved this plan today, and what's the city's next actual step to move forward to let the developer and the property owner to go ahead to do the development as we envisioned? Thank you.
Yes, thank you for those questions. First, yes, as part of the environmental impact report, there was a detailed traffic analysis. Our consulting traffic engineer, Jonathan Chambers, is actually online to help answer those questions. But I would more generally say that, as is the case throughout the city of Diamond Bar, the traffic congestion is not generated by Diamond Bar's residents and the commerce that occurs in the city. It's the regional traffic that's using the city of Diamond Bar that creates that impact. The findings of the traffic analysis is essentially that traffic is not going to be significantly worsened by adding residential density to this site. In fact, the residential component will add very little to the daily traffic volumes. And even though traffic congestion is no longer considered a CEQA issue, it's still a matter of public interest. But with the improvements on Diamond Bar Boulevard, with the complete streets, adding new turn pockets, there's actually likely to be noticeable improvements in traffic flow as the street improvements go in. As far as next steps, there are property owners and prospective developers that have reached out to the city, that have subscribed to our website dedicated to the town center, and they are eager to begin taking advantage of the plan. So after the specific plan goes into effect, then we need to also do our job to promote the opportunities that open up here and try to draw in more interest. And it's our belief that when the first new development comes in, it's going to increase property values in that area. It's going to encourage property owners, existing property owners, to take advantage of that property value increase, and then they will have potentially a mutually beneficial transaction as developers that are interested come in and assemble properties to start implementing the specific plan.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yes,
Councilman Chow.
Thank you, Mayor. So a couple of council meetings ago, we had talked about updating our couple of our ordinances to make doing businesses a little bit easier in Diamond Bar, specifically about live entertainment, relaxing some of parking requirements, so on and so forth. So I know once we pass the ordinance and incorporate it into our building code, was there anything specific in this building code regarding relaxing some of our ordinances to make doing business a little easier in the town center?
Yes, actually, the town center specific plan is really custom tailored zoning for the town center. So yes, we are going to be revisiting our development code that applies citywide to make those types of uses permissible and incentivize them in those other areas. But we got a head start on the specific plan. So in Chapter 5, where it lists all of the permitted uses, we actually have a land use category called bars and nightclubs that's going to provide for entertainment, dancing, alcohol that does not necessarily have to be in conjunction with food service. And so those uses, they would be permitted with a conditional use permit. We still need to have some guardrails on operating hours and occupancy and so forth. But the intent is for this to become not just a walkable shopping environment, but also a place where entertainment can be consumed rather than going to Brea or other cities that provide those activities that we currently do not. And also with what we're hoping to encourage here, we will see a diversity of cuisines in the restaurant spaces that we're creating in this plan.
What's that movie? Footloose? So we're gonna bring dancing back? I'll see you on dance
Yeah,
floor, Mayor.
but no booze, okay?
Oh, okay.
Take one.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. My question is with regard to the bonus rules. I think the inclusionary point system is absolutely brilliant, so that's really great. Is the current housing rules, however, does that supersede or conflict with our point system?
It's an option. So if they want to use the state rules, they can. But if they want to use our incentive system, they get to choose. So it's either one or the other, and they both have the same outcome in promoting housing, actually lower income housing. And so there's actually no conflict.
Okay, so we're not going to get a letter from Mr. Bonta and saying that your sort of point system is not so good?
Correct.
Okay, fantastic. This is a zoning document. So during the process, if someone were to actually propose a development, do they actually go to the planning commission and all of that, or is that are we looking at a rubber stamp at that point?
They would be going to the planning commission because we still want to continue having a transparent public disclosure process, but the planning commission's role is really just to affirm that the proposed developments do conform to the objective design standards that were prescribed here. So yes, certainly we could have crafted the entitlement process for staff to rubber stamp it, but we do feel that the scale and the significance of the developments that we expect to come in really warrant a more open public process.
I think that's great, and I would, say that that's a better way to go for our city. And then again, do we run into conflicts with the state mandates of basically going through ministerial and administrative review for most projects?
The state law, is it SB 330? So SB 330 still is out there, and a developer could come in and bypass the process and have a ministerial approval. Honestly, though, I don't think that it is very likely. One of the poison pills that discourages SB 330 from being more widely used is the requirement for prevailing wages. So that's really a disincentive for them to proceed that way. So we're we're really not worried that that's going to potentially happen.
Mr. Sandoval, were you going to add to that?
No, that's fine.
Come on, he was itching.
I know. And then if someone were to build something that require a variance, is that still possible even though we adopt this plan?
A variance,
Non-conforming, I suppose. Is that a better word?
no, a variance is a waiver from development standards. So yes, potentially, there could be some unusual circumstances relating to the specific physical characteristics of a lot that might lead them to ask for a variance. But again, the standards here there are really no setback requirements. There are very few development standards like we have under conventional zoning that lead to requests for variances. We do have in our objective design standards specific, the controls we have on height are really at where development interfaces with the existing homes, and they have to keep the heights limited for a certain distance to maintain solar access. But I don't foresee there being any real obstacles to developing in what's being allowed for in the specific plan. It's much more permissive, if you will, than say what the more restrictive development standards would be in a single family neighborhood.
And then finally, my last question is that you mentioned during the presentation that gas stations were going to be deemed conforming uses. Do we contemplate any other existing businesses that might fall into that category, or would they just be at that point non-conforming uses?
They would be non-conforming uses. We did view gas stations as uniquely appropriate for allowing them to continue operating. One of the key factors is that they have their underground storage tanks, and the amount of remediation under state regulations are extremely rigorous. So it's very costly, and it takes time to make a former gas station site remediated and ready for redevelopment. So we do feel that it's appropriate to allow those uses to kind of live out their useful life until market conditions then lead to the repurposing of those properties.
And then finally, I told you that was my last question. Actually, I have one more question. There are some developments that are adjacent to the zoning area. Could they at some point be part of this zoning requirement, the zoning area, or is that not possible, or is that not really contemplated?
It's possible. I think the kind of the corners, the boundaries of the specific plan area really kind of reflect some of the more geographic limits of this site. For example, the freeway, the surrounding streets, the golf course. There is a condo complex, and there is some vacant land to the east on Golden Springs Drive maybe opportunity sites in the future, and we could consider that.
Actually, that's what I was thinking about. There is a condo complex. What if they one day said, you know what, we want to change part of our condo into a high-rise, just like my neighbor 1,000 feet down? So would that be possible?
It's something we definitely could look at, sure.
Okay, great, thank you. The document is really excellent. It's well done. It's very thorough and addresses everything. So excellent work. Thank you.
Thank you. Are we comfortable with the group that did the traffic engineer plan I cannot wrap my mind around the fact that we got 2,020 units and we think traffic is not going to be an issue.
Should we let Jonathan? We do have Jonathan Chambers on the line. He and his team did prepare the traffic analysis. So I would ask if he could respond to that.
Sure.
Can anyone hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Hello? Okay, hi. Yeah, this is Jonathan Chambers with Gibson Transportation Consulting. There are a few different factors at play here. One of them is that the analysis was comparing the project build-out to conditions that were previously approved under the general plan. So there was already a baseline of quite a number of residential units that would be developed. So we were essentially looking at the incremental difference between what was already approved, what was already allowed under the general plan, compared to what is proposed under the specific plan. And sorry, I'm looking in my analysis here to see those exact numbers, but my recollection off the top of my head was it's around 1,300 units were already approved. So the net difference was in the range of 700 or 800 units different. So that was part of it. The other reasons why there's not a huge incremental change with the project, there are several improvements to intersections that would occur either by the project or in conjunction with the project, including at the intersection of Diamond Bar Boulevard and Golden Springs, and also at the primary project driveway on Diamond Bar Boulevard. And both of those result in substantial improvements to delay at those intersections. I know Greg had mentioned some of those turn lane improvements as an example there. And he also mentioned, and this is also accurate, that the vast majority of the traffic that is coming through on Diamond Bar Boulevard is in fact, well, I shouldn't say the vast majority, but quite a lot of that traffic is essentially through traffic. It's not generated right here. The additional incremental effect of traffic that is generated here by the project itself, by the specific plan, it's on a percentage basis, it's not a huge amount compared to what's already on the road. And then one of the other factors, and this gets a little bit technical, but most of the traffic ultimately that the project generates on Diamond Bar Boulevard, a lot of it is through traffic at some of the key intersections. It's not turning, and through traffic typically has a lower average delay than the intersection as a whole. It's generally those vehicles that are trying to turn left onto Diamond Bar Boulevard or turn off of Diamond Bar Boulevard, generally again left turns, which tend to have a longer average delay and they push up the overall intersection average. So essentially when you add through traffic, which at a lower average delay, you end up not impacting the overall average delay of the intersection. So ultimately the level of service, which is the measure of how the intersection operates as a whole, doesn't change much with the addition of project traffic. There are some locations, the intersection of Diamond Bar Boulevard and the 60 eastbound ramps, where there is a delay that adds like 8 seconds of delay during one of the peak hours, which is more than we'd like to see, but it is not a huge change. So it's not all, it's not all a great result, but in the scheme of things, the project has a fairly nominal effect on traffic congestion.
I'm gonna have to trust you on that. I'm a linear thinker, and for the life of me, I can't figure out how, when we looked at this, that there was some information from the general plan, and it was 1,300 units would be approved. And so now we're talking 2,100, so it's only a difference of 800 more. It's like, if you're in that area, I guess a better way for me to put this is, I can tell when the 5760 is backed up, because the 5 miles it takes me to drive from Golden Springs all the way to Brea Canyon, which is about 5 miles, is loaded with cars that are getting off, either coming through Tonner Canyon or getting off the 57 freeway. And we all agree it's this traffic is going to Chino Hills, or it's going to what's the next city up, Glendora or wherever, or they're going all the way to the 10 freeway, and it's just unfathomable to me that 2,000 more units, and those are units, right? Those are the dwelling units. And if we assume that 2 or 3 people are going to live in it, it's, I don't know how people are going to get out of that new, beautiful 4 stories, 2,000 units homes. But people much smarter than me have thought this through. So, and hearing that people are more smarter than you want to talk now, don't you?
I don't. Actually, that was the worst thing that I wanted to hear. But, Mr. Mayor, I'm Neil Payton. I'm one of led the consulting team. And hopefully Jonathan is still on the line, because I wanted to ask him some things. I'm not a traffic expert, but I do this a lot, so I'm familiar with some of the concepts. Not every home is the same. So when you think about adding 800 single-family homes, that would be a very different thing than adding 800 higher density apartments and condos in a town center. And the reason why that is, and Jonathan, you can correct me when I'm completely off the rails here, but the reason why that's significant is some of those folks do not have to get in their car to make every trip like you would in a single family home. So if you want to get a coffee, if you want to even do some light grocery shopping, do your dry cleaners, go to a bar, which I know that there's a big interest in. These are trips that you could theoretically walk to. And that's a very big difference. So that's something to keep in mind. Another thing to keep in mind is that we actually have a small reduction in retail on this than is currently on the site. And retail is a much bigger driver of traffic than houses are. So that's another factor to keep in mind. It's just, Jonathan, if you want to add or correct me, please.
Yeah, absolutely. And you need no correction on that, Neil. And I can put a little bit of numbers to that. So he mentioned the difference between single-family homes and multi-family apartment buildings. And the traffic engineering world has a book of what we call trip generation rates, the trip generation manual, which is a compilation of studies that have been conducted all over the country of how many trips different types of land uses actually generate. And there's very dense data on both single family and multifamily homes. And in rough numbers, these multifamily, several story apartment type units generate about 60% less traffic, 40% less traffic during the peak hours, so during those busiest morning and afternoon hours of the day, compared to single family homes. On average, those units generate less than 0.4 trips per unit during those hours. Now, keep in mind, it's like in a single hour from say 8 to 9. So if you're looking, you're thinking, well, in my house we have 2 trips leave every morning. That may well be true, but that may be between 7 and 10. but in a single hour, the average multifamily unit generates a little less than 0.4 trips. And that's before accounting for those things like the ability potentially to get on a bus or walk. With this specific plan, one of the key goals is to develop sort of a bit of a complementary use. So you have your grocery store, your shopping, et cetera, within easy walking distance of these residential apartments. So all in all, those 800 units, the project as a whole compared to what is approved to be built there without the project is about 290 morning peak hour trips, 260 afternoon peak hour trips. And that compares to literally thousands of peak hour trips that are currently on Diamond Bar Boulevard. So just to put that into a little bit of perspective there.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I can see that in my mind. When you break it out that way, it's like, okay, it's not that big of a deal. I still think it's a big deal. Greg, if you could put back up the visual of looking at, I think it was Diamond Bar Boulevard headed for north, right? So we have all the homes on the left side and that'll do. The one you just want. So we see the area, the arrow there. We got at the lower right is Lord Beer. So that arrow is heading towards the 60 freeway, correct? Okay. If we look at the east side, the other side, the upper right side, I don't see a gas station. And that's where the mobile station would be, or is. That to look at that gives Bill Sipple heartache. So we're just looking at something that we can talk about, not what we're going to see at whatever time.
Yes, that's correct. The specific plan would allow for the development you see on that corner, but there's that is going to be the choice of the property owner to do that. If they choose not to, then that remains a gas station.
Okay, thank you. And do you envision, I wish I could remember the gentleman's name that was on the phone with us, but we know he lives on Palomino. Do we envision blocking off Diamond Bar Boulevard so that they would have to leave their area at, what would that be? Golden Springs and, yeah, I'm trying to think of the name of the street, though. It'll come to me tonight.
Torito?
No, one more block east. I only go through there every day. I don't know why I can't remember it.
Well, and I can't remember the name either, but there's no streets being blocked off. So
Does that make sense for the people that live there? That it should be blocked off at Diamond Bar Boulevard? Neil's shaking his head no.
It should remain as it is.
Okay. I'm sure you have a good reason for that.
Because it would cause them more inconvenience if it was blocked off. You don't want to, one of the things that you do in a town center plan is you actually want as much interconnectivity as possible. You want the finest grain of a weave of streets as you can get. Now, if you were starting from scratch, this wouldn't be the plan, but you're not. This is the finest that we can, when I say finest, I mean the most tightest that we can achieve. And anything less than that would decrease the walkability and increase traffic congestion in certain intersections.
Okay. All right, thank you. I appreciate all the questions you've answered for everybody. Any other questions? No? You're good? All right. So that, let's do this in three sequences, right? Or is it four? I should say,
I will make a motion to
thank you,
adopt.
that's what I'm looking for.
Okay, a motion to adopt, can I do C
C.
and D together? Or C,
I think C first.
C first,
Yes.
all right. Adopt resolution number 2026-05, certifying the final supplemental environmental impact report, adopting findings of fact and statement of overriding considerations, and adopting the mitigation, monitoring, and reporting program.
I'll
Okay.
second.
I have a motion from Mayor Pro Tem Lowe and a second from Councilman Chow. Christine, if you call the roll, please.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Chow?
Yes.
Councilmember Lou?
Yes.
Councilmember Tang?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Lowe?
Yes.
Mayor Tai?
Okay, that passes on a 5-0 vote. Item D, who would like to?
I'll make the motion
Go
to
ahead.
adopt resolution number 2026-06, amending the general plan, land use, and economic development element related to the town center specific plan.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilman Chow, a second from Mayor Pro Tem Lowe. Christina?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Chow?
Yes.
Councilmember Lou?
Yes.
Councilmember Tang?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Lowe?
Yes.
Mayor Tai?
Yes. Again, passes 5-0. And that leads us to E. Do you want this read in complete, Omar, an ordinance of the city, et cetera?
We read it into the record earlier by Director of Government, so we don't need to read it again.
Okay, great. Who would like to make a motion?
A motion, Mayor.
Okay, I have a motion from Councilman Lou
I'll second.
and a second from Councilman Tang. Call the roll, please.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Chow?
Yes.
Councilmember Lou?
Yes.
Councilmember Tang?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Lowe?
Yes.
Mayor Tai?
Yes, again, unanimous. So this is monumental for Diamond Bar. This is very, very exciting. When I think of how many years and iterations we've gone through, so congratulations. Congratulations, everything council. I appreciate your efforts. That brings us to item 10, which is council consideration 10.1, fiscal year 2025-26 mid-year budget update. Mr. Fox.
Mayor and council, our finance director, Jason Jacobson, will make the staff presentation.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. It is the city's policy to periodically review the annual budget and make any additional adjustments as deemed necessary. Staff has conducted their mid-year review of the fiscal year 25-26 adopted budget, evaluated current revenues and expenditure trends, and confirmed the status of CIP projects. With that, it is my pleasure to present to you tonight the mid-year budget update. Before you tonight is a request to increase total resources across all funds by $630,000 and increase expenditures across all funds by $512,000. The impact on the general fund is an increase in ending fund balance of $94,000. Here on the slide before you is the general fund revenues. You could see on the second column from the right, we have a decrease requested for sales tax. This is reducing the adopted budget amount by 3.3% and bringing the year-over-year change to just under 1%. These reductions of $237,000 are mainly due to fuel and service stations, about $116,000, and business and industry category, which is one of our key revenue sources. In addition to that, you have an increase to charges for service, which are predominantly related to building and safety. You have an increase to recreation fees, an increase to recreation fees of $50,000, an increase to fines and forfeitures of $45,000, one-time cost reimbursement of $224,000 for the library's portion of the City Hall roof renovation project, and $800 increase for film permit revenue. In total, that's $604,000 for the general fund. Moving on to revenues, proposed expenditure adjustments are again on the second column from the right. We have $74,000 increase requested for the preparation of a development impact fee report and study by the Economic Development Department. We have $50,000 requested from Information Systems, $8,000 of which is for printer and toners, and $42,000 is for telephone landlines. We have $3,000 requested for Public Safety, $1,000 of which is for additional citations, and $1,500 for flock camera replacements. On the bottom there, we have $1,000 for Emergency Preparedness Department for satellite phones. Continuing on with the general fund, we have planning requesting $3,000, $1,100 of which is for commission minute books and supplies. Sorry, I lost my note there. And $2,000 is requested for ads for fire map and 2025 building code update. We have $205,000 requested for building and safety. This is mainly for the contract staff portion related to the permit and plan check revenue. And in addition, we have $450 requested for overtime that has been incurred. We have $69,000 requested for recreation, 30 of which is offset by class revenues, and $39,000 is an ongoing request for moving the senior programming to the general fund from the CDBG fund, as it's no longer eligible. Lastly, we have a transfer out request. That's a total of $106,000 that we would like to utilize to offset the negative balance in the COVID recovery fund that was incurred due to paid leave that was not eligible for reimbursement by state or federal government during the pandemic period. In total, the general fund expenditure request increase is $510,000. I do apologize, the table in the agenda report had the wrong number at the bottom of the table, but 510 is the correct amount. Right. Lastly, I'd just like to point out that ongoing revenues are requested in the amount of a negative ongoing adjustment of $141,000, and the ongoing increase to expenditures are approximately $122,000. And this sort of highlights the structural deficit the city is facing on an ongoing basis here. So total ongoing recurring impact to the general fund would be approximately $263,000, and that is, that's the ongoing, but there is a one-time positive impact of over $90,000 to the general fund. Wrapping up here with the other mid-year adjustments requested for the general plan update fund 103. We have $2,000 requested for legal ads, printing and advertisement for the town center specific plan and EIR. And on the revenue side here, we have the COVID recovery fund. This is the transfer in. This is again the cost reimbursement needed to close out the fund and offset the negative balance. In the special revenue fund category, we have the integrated waste management fund with a total revenue reduction of $80,000 due to just current trends being below what we expected. In sum, we have a total revenue request of $630,000 and expenditure request of $512,000. Total impact to all fund balances is an increase in $118,000. With that, staff recommendation is to approve Resolution 2026-07, amending the fiscal year 25-26 municipal budget, revenue estimates, and appropriations, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Jason. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to address the council on this scintillating item? Nobody. Okay, are there any, City Clerk Santana, anyone online that would like to speak?
Mayor, there were no emails submitted for item 10.1. There are some callers on the line, and if anyone would like to provide a public comment, please click on the raised hand icon in the GoTo webinar program now. And there are no hands raised, Mayor.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Any council comments or discussion?
Question.
Go ahead.
My question is, one of the slides has the increased request for additional planning and, for building and safety. Would you please show that slide?
What are we looking for?
Right. Here, building and safety, the requested amount is 205, and your total budget is 613. Am I reading that correctly? That we're increasing 30%, 33% at mid-year?
I'm sorry, where did you see the total budget?
Second line from the top, building and safety,
Okay, yes.
building and safety,
Revised budget,
revised, but the increase is 205, and our budget is 613.
so yes, I'm sorry, I'm having trouble reading it from here. The year-to-date is 613,000, that's the expenditures. The prior year, just to kind of compare year over year, 455,000, so obviously we're trending a little higher than last year. The revised budget prior to any adjustment tonight is 1.1 million, and we're asking on top of that an additional 205,000.
So we're 20%? approximately?
Essentially, yeah, a little less than 20, yeah.
Do we under budget our
So this is,
expenses
this
here?
increase is due to the expenditure component. So every dollar in revenue from the building and safety department is offset by an expenditure. It's a revenue share contract for our contract building and safety staff.
And Mayor Pro Tem, that's also primarily related to building plan check activity related to the Morning Canyon residential project that came in this fiscal year, just after we started.
So it
this
wasn't
fiscal year.
something we expected, so it's not budgeted.
Correct.
That's where I was
And then
getting at.
again, a portion of there should be a corresponding increase in the revenue, as well as a portion of that is then reflected in the expenditure side under the RKA contract.
Got it. Thank you very much.
Any other questions? No? Okay. Then would someone like to make a motion for approval of resolution number 2026-07?
I'll make the motion for approval resolution number 2026-07.
A second.
I have a motion from Councilman Chow, a second from Councilman Liu. Call the roll, please.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Chow?
Yes.
Councilmember Liu?
Yes.
Councilmember Tang?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Lo?
Yes.
Mayor Tai?
Yes. Thank you very much. That is 5-0. That brings us to council subcommittee reports and meeting attendance reports. Councilman Tang.
Thank you, Mayor. I've been to several public safety meetings in the past, and recently I attended one of the meetings in our neighborhood. It's a neighborhood watch meeting that we are happy that our sheriff liaison to the Diamond Bar City, Nancy Ferris, and her colleagues were there to talk to us. As usual, they provide us with many useful tips and information for the neighbors to improve their safety. And two things come up. That's something new. That one thing is the issue of this say something come up, because as everybody knows that we are involved in a major global conflicts. Even we are in Diamond Bar, we are far away from those conflicts. But however, that we were warned, we were alert that we need to be watchful to our environment, because in our city we do have a lot of infrastructure, that can be a target for some groups. And so that the organization called JRIC, Joint, what does it stand for? Joint Regional Intelligence Center. They ask the people, the citizens, the neighbors, the residents, if you see something suspicious, and contact them, then they will do the investigation. So people can go to JRIC's website to do it. And also you can go to the Department of Homeland Security's website to report anything suspicious. Of course, you can contact our sheriff if you have witnessed something suspicious. And there's a list of the handouts, and I think it's available in sheriff station, the things that if you see something that you should say something. Okay, I think that's very important information. The second is that the sheriff mentioned a activity called what's the name of that? The First Amendment auditors. That occurs in our city. I think that's a group of people who come to the city and public places to do the filming. And initially, I think they target our public offices. And then now they are targeting the regular residents and citizens. And if you confront with them, say that, hey, I don't want you to video me, I don't want you to film me, I think they were going to give you a hard time, a nasty time, confrontation, and they'll keep filming it. And their purpose is to put this on their website or whatever, the social media, to make a profit from that. So the advice to people is that if you do encounter this kind of a situation, just ignore that. Just leave it and don't have any engagement with this group of people. And also, we just saw that the filming in our city need a permit. I don't know if this count as a filming, that it needs our city's permit, because they are doing this filming to make a profit. No? Okay. So just for people in our city to be aware of these activities, when you see these kind of activities, and walk away, don't have any engagement with this group of people. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Tang. Councilman Liu.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, staff, for the detailed presentations. I attended the vector control meeting. It also is a good time to remind everyone that if you have standing water, such as one in a bucket or pop in the backyard, please, the way to eliminate mosquitoes, one good way is to empty the standing water outside of your yard, especially with the recent rain. We've been getting sporadic rain. We'll catch about 1 or 2 inches that are in a bucket or in a container. And once the rain's over, empty that, then we can eliminate a lot of mosquitoes from growing. So with that, I say good night. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Chow.
Thank you, Mayor. It's been a long day, but thank you for a very productive day. We've been here since 2 o'clock. For those of you who don't know, it's been a very productive day. I attended the San Gabriel Valley Council of Government Governing Board meeting a couple weeks ago. The 2 things that the board took action on to support SB 877 and SB 878, both by Senator Sasha Perez. Just quickly, SB 877 is the Fair Claims Practices and Transparency Act, which requires insurers to disclose all losses estimate documents, including original versions and revisions, and provide written explanation for any reductions. SB 878, it's the Insurance Payment Accountability Act, which strengthens prompt payment laws by imposing automatic interest penalties when insurers miss required deadlines. It also ensures that undisputed portion of the claims are paid on time, even if the other parts are still under review. So it's a way to force insurers to pay out. Sometimes they withhold payments because a part of it is being disputed, So this would force them at least pay out the portion that's not being disputed. So the board took actions to support both of those bills. Hopefully, we'll see them go through committee and eventually sign into law. So that, I'll say goodnight. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Chow. Mayor Pro Tem Lowe.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I just want to say congratulations to my colleague, Councilmember Chow and Councilmember Liu. What happened? For being honored by Supervisor Solis for your outstanding leadership and dedication and bringing the spirit of Lunar New Year to our district. So congratulations.
Thanks for the ask. Thanks for bringing us in. Sorry, I shouldn't interrupt you.
Yeah, now I'm really thrown off here. Anyway, so congratulations there. Mayor and I attended the Chino Valley Mayor's Prayer Breakfast over the last couple of weeks. And finally, I would just ask for an agenda item, Mayor, that we've had a lot of requests regarding the notices from the fire department over the last couple of weeks. And I think it's caused a lot of confusion in Landscape District 39 and maybe some of the other districts. Would it be possible to schedule either a special presentation, a Q&A with the fire chief to just answer some of these questions for our city? I know that we get a lot of those, so that's my request. And thank you to the staff for all their hard work. We were here since 2, but I know the staff has been working way more than that in order to be ready. So I just thank the staff for all of their hard work and dedication. With that, I'll say goodnight. Thank you.
Thank you. I agree with that. We should have that. I don't know if we're going to have who from the fire department, but the thing that I can't figure out that we've talked about is when you look at the information that has come from the county, the fire department, it looks like every home is going to be assessed $151. Is that only if the sheriff, if the fire department comes in and does that, or is it going to be every year? So there's a lot of confusion. I agree about that. So let's have that on a future agenda, please. And then I always enjoy that we get to see young people, the kids that were, young ladies that were there from, I think it's Cal Poly, right? Cal Poly. Yeah, so for Risa and Kayla and Luisa to be here tonight and share about National Nutrition Month, that up to today, I'd never heard of that. So now it's a thing in March. So I appreciate that. I'm shocked that they didn't stay with us till 8:30, but they probably had to get home and study. So with that, I will say good night. God bless you. And at 8:34, we are done. Hey, Greg.